Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Alright, well, I've got a couple of things I need to do. One is shipping the One Life clients, so that's something I've been doing in a Docker, just to have a reproducible environment. I've got the data builds for the sprites and data for the map. I was looking at, where was it? GitHub Actions, just because it's something I'm already kind of using. And I wasn't completely sure how it all worked yet. I know there was something about they've got Docker Actions and like they use some particular directories, so you kind of have to build them for that. So I might need to find some example actions that do similar things. So there's pure JavaScript, which would be great if you're doing, well, I don't know if JavaScript actions would work for the one-text stuff. And it is running a JavaScript program, but that might be more specialized. Self-hosted runners. Separate the action code from the environment used to run the code. Not rely on other binaries. Well, that relies on some other binaries, so that's not going to work anyway. Publishing. I was kind of looking for, where's examples? developing tools for. Well, that is creating actions. Migrating from particular systems. This is probably mostly like node packages, right? Although this is going to be similar to, I'm going to do the ship the client, because it's a binary blob. Publish packages to GitHub packages. Package repository. I don't really know if that's appropriate. npm, gem, maven, gradle, docker. Yeah, so that's not going to be directly appropriate. It's kind of creating a release. Now, does this mean GitHub releases? Ah, yes. Okay. Well, that is in fact one of the things we do. One of the things we do with that pipeline. Wait, no, is this administering repository? No, this isn't actions. Or is this a release of a action? Creating a workflow that publishes package to a package repository and every release creation. They don't really have a whole lot of information here. Creating your own actions. I think I've used Circle CI once. Automatic test parallelism. Not built in. Executing Docker containers instead of permissions. User instruction in your Docker file. Oh, must be the containers do different things. There's one workflow file per workflow. Does not require you to declare workflows. Each workflow configured. Similar syntax. Reason share tasks. Called actions. Running steps inside of a Docker image, set of pre-built images. Oh, have users set to Circle CI, which causes permissions to conflict with GitHub Actions. Using environment, creating secrets. I'll have to get into some of that. Caching. Provide a method to manually cache files in the configuration file. Yeah, restore cache. Blah, 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 blah. Name uses actions with. I guess with is the thing? Oh, uses actions cache. Well, that might be an interesting thing to look up. With path key, restore keys. Path. This seems like an incomplete definition of what this is doing. Hash files, package lock. Restore most recent npm deps. They don't do Docker layer caching? Oh, so this is separate. Persist to workspace. Persist to workspace, paths. Upload artifact. Download artifact. Name homework, math homework. Download homework. I guess it just figures out the path. Primary containers, additional containers, and services. Okay, so it's overwriting the sidebar. 26, Docker image, environment variables. So it's got two image names with two different things. Oh, it's saying run this in two different images, I guess. And this is probably where they said use two different files. Well, I'm using services Postgres. Oh, image Postgres. So I guess the second one is like a service. Bundle install. Sample environment, set up the database, run the tests. Well, they highlighted some stuff here. On push, runs on Ubuntu latest. So you've got runs on and you've got container. And they are using the Circle CI for parity. And services Postgres. And then they've got a name for every for every step. Set up file system permissions. Uses checkout. Install dependencies, set up environment, set up database. Real world example. Thoughtbot administrator. Restore cache. Install dependencies. They have explicit step to save the cache. Wait for DB, set up environment, set up database, run tests. Jobs, Ruby 25, Ruby 26. No, default job. Base environment, Postgres, jobs. Okay, so this thing allows certain things to be matrix. I don't know if we can really, we'll be able to use that. I mean, maybe this is just like gets Ruby, blah, 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 blah. What is it? Ruby, so use slightly different names. It's on Ubuntu latest. The difference between runs on and this, I'm not sure about. And the Postgres actually could be the same for both of them. So checkout, setup. Ruby version. Oh, here's a question. Can you test these locally? There's actions locally. Or maybe this entire thing is an action. Use Ruby action. Oh, that's the matrix thing. So the matrix is specific to things that have been set up for it. Uses actions cache with vendor bundle. The cache should be. I guess that the cache would be like the one life repositories. I don't know about artifacts. Use the same outputs or download dependencies. Package dependency management tools. Clean environment. That don't change often. Display a job as ended. That don't change often. Well, these are going to change every time. I guess if this is running on GitHub, then cloning the repositories might not be as big a deal. It's probably not going to probably going to be about as hard as restoring the repositories from here. For one tech, you do have the output directories. Now, I think it redoes the images every time. So probably versions would be the main thing you'd have to save. Okay, so it remembers the path. Build and test artifacts. Was that upload art? Yeah, that was upload artifact. Hive production operator. Name dist, path dist. Upload artifact. Code coverage artifacts. Upload to where? Download artifacts. I still have to have the action actually push that somewhere. That's bizarre. Well then. I guess I'll have to wait on that a little bit. Is that all of GitHub? Starter workflows. So it is, in fact, a thing called actions. Starter workflows, toolkit for developing, specific version of Node. Which maybe that would be... no, we're going to need Docker for... one tech because it needs the canvas stuff. Well, I guess that's technically a kind of dependency. Oh, there's a marketplace. Caching version of Node, version spec and path. I think some of the other examples we were looking at did do some install stuff for dependencies. What else is in the marketplace? Apps, categories. What's an app? Automate code review. Okay, so it's like things that trigger stuff. Link checker. Oh, we need to do some filtering. This is going to be kind of useless. Well, categories maybe. Could be a kind of continuous integration. Build and push Docker images. Maybe would you use a setup for that? This is a popular category. What else? Deployment? 900 results is another popular category. Create a release tag in your repository. Upload a release asset. Okay, so these are potentially useful. The name of the tag. Is that some sort of option? Ah, okay. So I would have to figure out how to move this information through the pipeline. So there's create a release. Upload a release asset. For example, this would come from their GitHub action. Create release. Steps.createrelease.outputs. Okay. So the problem here is that I'm going to end up with two different builds that go to the same release, assuming we keep everything. So it's not necessarily going to be one workflow. So we can't just use outputs. I actually had to like reconstruct the URL. But it is just upload URL, so I could still reconstruct the URL. Okay, upload to an existing release. Deploy a static website. It's with folder. Yeah, this only does folders. Destination bucket. So that probably expects it to be the entire bucket. I actually need to do a subfolder. I don't see an option for that. Do we get full arguments? Refer to the AWS sync docs. I'd have to test this on a different bucket. Source dir bucket. What's the target dir? Is that even a dash dash option? Sync bucket. Examples. Sync dot. Local current directory contains no objects. What if we do local path? They have no example with a local path. We're just going to have to test that then, if that's what we use. Oh. Sync a directory. It's actually looks very similar to the other one. It's just calling the CLI. Okay, so we've got room for secrets. Source dir. Okay, so dest dir. Defaults to the root bucket. Once again, we'll need to test this on a test bucket. Syncs repository. There's just a bunch of these. Static release. Oh, there's an S3 command. No documentation. Maybe the thing itself has some. Why isn't... Oh, okay, it's empty. Yeah, maybe not. So this is I know this syntax, so wait, this was YAML. So what is this syntax? Installs dependencies are built and caches them in S3. All right, so that's an option. Are you back? Nope. This is S3 sync. What else do we need? This is one of those tragedies where there's so much stuff it's very hard to find if there's anything that does what you need. TypeScript compiler. There's only 36 results for this one. Yeah, so we're probably gonna have to do custom container for those. I might be able to find enough other examples. Also, we're looking at this. So starter workflows, JavaScript action, TypeScript action, toolkit runner, virtual environments, upload artifact, download artifact. Check out our repo. Create release, set up Haskell, set up node. And if you can install dependencies, you might be able to use this node thing for one tack. How to build the Docker action. Actually, are workflows separate from actions? Must be written in YAML. All right, so this is just something we want to explore. All right, greeting, enable manual. Okay, so really CI and automation are the highlights. Triage pull requests. Okay, yeah, so these are other types of things for the most part. Actions labeler. Mark stale issues. Manually triggered. Okay, so there's greet. Oh, maybe it runs greeting. All right. Is there more than a... Yeah, there's a lot of these. What is AWS? Build and push a new container image to ECR. Checkout. Configure credentials. Log in. Oh, container registry. Docker build, Docker push. A basic workflow. on push on pull request. Runs on Ubuntu latest. Check out. Run some stuff. Node.js, maybe. Clean install of node dependencies. Node version. Uses actions setup node with node version. I could really just put in 10x for our purpose. I don't know, can you install binary dependencies? And actually, we don't necessarily want to do Ubuntu latest. This is probably just a standard container. How do we... That's GitHub, that's GitHub. It's GitHub. Maybe they walk you through it? Creating the workflow. Well, they're actually creating it in here. All right, are we actually fully synced here? No, it is one tack. We added a note, and the sync is my local thing. The branch is up to date. All right, this might be in admin panels. I don't know if there's anything dangerous back here, but webhooks, integrations, actions. Okay, nothing immediately dangerous here. Local and third-party actions, local actions only. Whether the code action or repository owned by a third party. Okay, so the actions have to be defined locally. So the question is, do they have to be in the master branch or they run on the branch that they're on? That's another question. Okay, yeah, these are from the sample things. And this is like the super, super basic one. Oh, but it's in a .github directory. Okay. So this is going to do local commits. Now, it doesn't say what branch this is on. Flow syntax. How to get current branch. Refs heads. So that would mean I'd have to have my own master. Instead of just tracking the upstream master. So this is really, it's just a text file in a certain location. Which brings us back to do you want me to test this, or do we have to run it on GitHub? Run your actions. How about workflows? Well, there's a GitHub workflows. Maybe it runs the same thing. Docker API. Okay, so you've got your local stuff. Oh, to install with Homebrew. So this is going to assume I don't know, if you're running Windows. I never did get these things figured out. Or just latest release and add to your path. Docker copy. Now you see, this is going to be wrong for me. This is already node 12. And just doing Ubuntu 2004 gave us 10. So it looks like GitHub Actions may have extremely limited runners versus a standard Docker environment. They different image. Oh, that overwrites what Ubuntu latest means. But if GitHub's runner is not the standard Ubuntu package of that name, virtual environments what are the actual runners? Okay, so yeah, so this is like code. Okay, so this is some actual, there's some actual code here. I guess maybe the runner is the thing that gets the workflow and decides what's to do with it. I don't know if that's the runner itself or the host environment. So this is a question of, I've seen Docker show up a few times in the docs, but sometimes that's like making a Docker container. Publishing Docker images. There was something about you can have Docker actions. I don't know if you can actually do stuff. I mean, maybe the action is your entire thing. Sharing workflow templates, variables and secrets, caching and storing, database and service containers. That's for publishing Docker. Does this have... No, this is a different repository. Oh, no, wait. Right there. Action setup node. Well, okay, so this has the ability to set up a particular node version. So your actions can manage that even if that host environment was node 12 baseline. Uses setup nodes with node version. And then we just have a whole bunch of run lines for the other stuff. Yeah, we've got to check out some data here. Wait, no, this is a whole Docker, not one tech Docker. The dependencies may be an issue. I thought I saw some dependencies in one of them, though. I don't know what command they're using for that. Set up Java. Wait, wouldn't set up node have to do that kind of stuff? Node version. Okay, so inputs. Runs using node 12. Is that a container? Dist index. Okay, that's a function they're going to pull out apparently. GraphQL. This is a big file. Copy, move, which, copy to recursive, platform checks. Not easy to see what's going on here. I don't even know where to look for the main code. This actually looks like compiled output. Maybe this is like TypeScript? And there's a different source directory? Yeah, it was TypeScript. And then they've got all the support libraries for the baseline system. What are you actually doing? Get input. Token auth stable. Oh wait, installer get node. Okay. Oh, hey, look. They got a new one. What is that under? Oh. I never turned on mod icons on this computer. Did I already change? Okay, this is still main. I guess this is installer. This is a little bit bigger. So download it. Do you do anything that installs prerequisites? Or is it just Node? Well, maybe not. It seems like there was some file I saw that did a prerequisite. Maybe that was like in the Circle CI conversions? Yeah, so we've got these actions that do this setup. There's nothing that actually does anything. Wait, checkout, build. Do you just have Rust available? Okay, runs on. But we can use a container that has actual dependencies installed. Although it says container, and then it uses actions. So it's like it's still able to execute an action inside a particular container. So we would have to publish a baseline image. So this does do a git clone. So this would be where the checkout step would pick up. Then you'd have to install... Well, the build is for the website. If we're just doing data processing, we don't need that. So this would be like one tech prereqs. See, when do you need to worry about the base install? 'Cause if we're not gonna serve it. So the weird thing about checkout, well, this runs on pull requests. So checkout must be somehow aware of the fact that it's running on some branch. At least for that event. Now, if it's manual, that might get a little dicier. Let's see. Do we have... Yes. I don't know if the file names matter. More than one workflow. Okay, it seems to be any old name. Commit your changes in the workflow file to the branch where you want the workflow to run. Okay, so it doesn't have to be master. That's just their UI. All right. .github workflows. And what do we want? Well, this might have to be a multi-step process. What we ultimately want to do is publish the map data. And actually, I guess I could have this sync directly. Or I could have the Docker file sync directly. Oh. No, I need... Step one is we need a prerequisite Docker file, because otherwise we can't run this stuff. So we've got processor, which expects to have some stuff mounted into it. I don't think there's... Well, there's upload and download. That's going to be peculiar to... How would that work? In GitHub Actions. We've got checkout, which is based on that repository. And I think that that's basically going to do the same as if you did a git checkout. So that might not be too much different than just having it clone one life data every time. So that part we might be able to just leave alone. And then we're going to have to do artifacts for the actual build. I'm trying to decide if this Docker file would work. I would need to do upload and download artifacts. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do this. Actually, do I even... Well, I should probably do all of public because I want both static directories. Even though I'm not using one of them. Which means... we've got processor, server. I want this to be a lot like processor. Update is mostly just a command, so I don't need that. So this is a... I guess I could make this like a baseline image, and the others could technically use this. Well, the other processor could anyway. Well, this is processor baseline. I have to get update, do all of that stuff. And then this would pick up at the checkout step. Maybe it should be more like one tech prereqs. Let's see, is there anything interesting? It's not super interesting, but it's still stuff I don't want to have to repeat all the time. And that's the folder it runs in. And doesn't necessarily matter what we run this in, as long as we're not doing any mounts. Okay, we had a local image that included that. So it actually just recognized that layer. What else do we got? We had processor build, pull the files out, run it. So I don't think this has any upload steps. Oh no, because that's actual client upload. We want a package server. I think I actually have two of these. So the Docker command is actually push. And, oh, this is versions. We're going to have any version information. Well, I need water. I'll be back in a minute. And more logic gates. Clay Entertainment. Hi! You know, I saw the art stream going on and not enough of my thing.
We're all in trouble. Kronos is going full wrath mode. I got the lava flowing. I got the lava flowing. I got the lava, got the lava, got the lava, got the lava flowing. Got the lava, got the
breeze outside. Oh! I'm really glad we read that note because I thought we picked this place clean. This rifle cleaning kit is what I really.
Sorry, new baby. We have Max, baby.
And you pretty dead, my friend.
I don't have any arrows.
Right when you say that, someone clip that. Someone clip that. Now that's something that needs to be clipped.
Oh god!
Ow. Okay, so he's a downward slam that turns into two things. He shoots a thing. Oh, jeez, he jukes you out. Oh, screw you, bud. Freaking hell. Screw you, Soul Master. Oh my god, you're kind of hard to hit. Holy shit. And I'm dead.
Welcome back. Are we going to need to tag this? That's a convenient for historical stuff. Probably we don't. Now, I don't know if this will create a repository or if I have to do that separately. All right, so that is one tech Docker. It was already built, so that was convenient here. So we've effectively just added a tag to an intermediate container. Ah, so interesting. I probably do need to prune some of this. And at some point I have to clean up some of the old tags. I don't have too many on here yet. Oh, maybe I didn't pass any tag to that. Right, because I wasn't rebuilding this to do stuff. So when we do package server, we pass, yeah, okay, we tag it as both. Oh, and I might have to actually do this. And it's like my local version of that that gets pushed to the remote version of that. Okay, so I did tag it as processor. Does this need... Yes. Are these... You had explicit latest. I might be doing that explicitly. Because these are the ones you pull down with it. So we've got processor. Actually, I think processor latest will effectively get processor. Wait, this is processor. I don't need you to be tagged. All right, latest. Successfully tagged. Okay, so it accepted it as a new push. Apparently there were 2 layers in there. All right, Neo. Did I already open this? Okay, so I was not quite gone into GitHub workflows. What do we call this? I don't yet know what this is going to end up doing. It might have to be a multi-step process. Our goal is to what? Prepare update mapping files. Is it YAML or YML? It's either. They're defaulting to YML. It's a little bit like this. So it's probably going to start this out as a manual for testing purposes. On push, or maybe even a schedule. What's a trigger? Oh, and then you can just manually run anything? To manually run a workflow. Workflow dispatch. You can configure custom defined input properties, default input values, required inputs. Can it just be empty? Name, description required. Jobs, and jobs are whatever. So this is going to do a bit of rework. Maybe I can work on caching the npm install stuff. Do we have multiple jobs? So I guess we have to use some kind of Ubuntu, and then what was one tech? Prereqs. Check out. Presumably this will let you specify a branch. Oh, I need to be. How do you do? Can we change directories? Steps. You could have your own actions. Defined in a published Docker image. And that's other kind of managing. Is there... About GitHub's actions, managing a run. Workflow syntax. On push, on pull. Page build, release. On schedule. Defaults. Shell and working. Oh, working directory. For all run steps in a workflow. the folder doesn't exist until we do the checkout, though, right? And that's run steps. It's not necessarily a uses. Okay, so that's jobs dot. So defaults is a top level key. Each job must have an ID to associate the job. The key job ID is a string. Or nothing about the number of jobs you can have in one thing. You can specify prerequisite jobs. I'm not sure why. I guess you might want to separate like build and upload, for instance. So we would have, this is more like install. Checkout. Okay, we're going to be in the process directory. Oh, yeah. The sprites directories, which are actually not in the process directory. npm install is going to care about that. This is going to be down one because we're defaulting to process. Can the checkout action take other repositories? I think I just saw something about that. I clicked through to something. Oh, this is the status badge. Where was... Checks out your repository. Oh, only a single commit is such by default. Fetch depth. Repository name with GitHub owner. Actions checkout. So we can actually check out something else. Well, the script does that itself. I don't know if this is going to be... Oh, if git 2 is not in the path. Okay, so it does potentially use git in the path. We've got git installed. So, process data. And the terrible thing about this is Well, we're gonna have to work on caching and artifacting. Because this is a bit more efficient in the sort of single server environment. Oh, these are jobs fully independent, or can they do actions on each other? They don't really describe the jobs at all. Airflow syntax, core concepts, set of steps that execute on the same runner. Fresh. Okay, so generally speaking, we're probably going to want this all to be on the same thing. So really, it's just whatever. And then we'll eventually have to do something that saves the files out. And I might actually want to make a new branch. And we'll still have to push it, but for testing this stuff. Too many. Okay, there we go. This doesn't do anything with it, but this is going to be probably a lot of debugging as is. Okay. Where do you run things from? Oh no, this is self-hosted runner. Okay. Oh, it has its own tab. How do we run an action? I guess it hasn't updated yet. Or maybe I have to like be on this branch. No, it doesn't recognize the branch. So the runs on the branch it's on only applies to push actions. If you want to run it manually, you have to commit to master. Which means we have to figure out how to have an action that checks out a different branch. Didn't we pull that up? Actions checkout repository ref. Yeah, I guess. For my purposes, that's kind of true. Repository name, branches, default branch. Of course, eventually it'll be mapping. But we've got an interface. Well, except we don't. It's no longer in the intro interface, but it hasn't actually found the config file. So it's like recognized we have the .github workflows directory, but not the file itself. I guess I could have typoed it. .github workflows. .github workflows. It's a .yml file. Blah, 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 YML. Okay, so this could be a really bad UI that doesn't tell us, hey, we found a file that we think might be a workflow and it has bad syntax. I guess the only way I could possibly figure that out would be to see if they've got any checking in the interactive one. There's no indication of problems here. And I did see some syntax highlighting in this earlier. Or does the name matter? Not doing a new commit for it. They seem to say you could name them whatever. Yeah, that's the wrong workflow. Okay, well, there's only picked up from master, which was part of my issue. That seems like a different workflow thing. GitHub Actions test. Lands in the default master branch. Now, we did kind of like change that, so it might have been a little bit weird for the detection system. You can change the default branch. Well, you can see all your workflows. Yeah, that about that 2 to 3 weeks. Workflow runs. Wait, is this not where we do manual workflow runs? You know what? We didn't define any parameters. Oh no, this is pull request issues. It's greetings properties JSON. Is it a script? No, it's something else. Manual. Yeah, it's Docker. Did that just die? It just died. Guess I was typing too fast? Oh, I put that into a different window. Yeah, I guess it's bad syntax. Oh, if we can get into filter workflows, this must be the results. Oh, here's the trigger. So if you can get here, you can say which use workflow from. Does that mean use it from or use it on? I guess if it's manual, it would mean use it on. Is this where the results come in? Oh, yep, there we go. No artifacts, no annotations. So I guess it's bad syntax, but I have no feedback about what that is. Do I need to put a dummy argument in the manual thing? Like, do I maybe need an empty inputs? I guess I need to add some. Right, because it's in a hidden file. Name, description. Okay, so we have to have at least, well, we have to have at least inputs. Okay. So does this refresh on its own? Or do we have to do a page refresh? Yep. Uh, oh, it's NPM process. Okay, well, post job cleanup. So Docker cleanup, some extra header stuff. All right, so we can hit rm.github. So that was pretty good. I mean, we could still, I guess there's still several things that could fail here, and it's going to take a while to test, so we might as well start testing when we look up other stuff. So things we want to do when successful. I guess we probably could attempt to cache the node modules. That was a pretty big step. Not as much as the data, but that might be an artifact thing. Key created and saving a cache path. The file path the runner uses to cache or restore. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I was updating some existing Circle CI stuff before, so I was kind of building on the existing things. Uh-oh. Usage npm command. Now this is the... I'm gonna have to refresh my... Oh, no, it's not npm. This is actually node. I mean, there's not going to be anything visible for a while. Alternate keys to use to find the cache if no cache hurts codes for key. Oh, that's actually NPM stuff. Well, that's NPM stuff for doing NPM install. Yeah, I was just wondering if they had a handy example of doing node module caching. End of cache name. So are these like global to my account? This is like OS build, cache node modules. Yeah, but like why have this variable? Is it just an example of using something from the end? Now in my case, I'm not really expecting this to vary by OS. So probably just like package lock? Whether the cache was hit or not. Okay. A Boolean value to indicate the exact match was found for the key. Is this for like doing like a V1, V2 style thing if you want to expire it? Because I noticed they go like hash, name, build. So these are simpler examples. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so assuming this is scoped to this workflow, then just like node modules, I mean, maybe you do build just in case. All right, well, this is all the syntax. This is indeed a step. So check out. This is actually NPM, not... So this would be... Would it just be node modules from here? Oh, this is like all package locks? Well, I guess we could do like processor node modules just in case we did both. This one, kind of okay. Not really be our only rundown. You don't need restore keys. Okay, it's the running. And doing all the versions. So that would be another thing to test. Why not? Does it automatically split on hashes or the dashes? And cache there, cacher. It automatically restores the key. Yeah, they say optional, but they don't really specify how it. More options for getting the cache. Another branch. Can partially match hash keys. Yeah, so that'd probably be more useful in a bigger project. All right, so workflow data. And GitHub is down again. Or at least the doc side is. And then we go do the other group of things. Well, maybe we can find this in. Do I still have a thing that's like just the search site? I may have actually clicked through something. This is actions. All right. Upload, download. From your workflow, you should share data between jobs and store data once the workflow is complete. Wildcard pattern. So I might be able to do static star to get just that step. But since I'm not doing anything else, public is probably fine. Excluding certain files. Oh. Well, this might not work then. I mean, it'll fit. Uh, I might have to see if I can edit it to not do the two directories, though. Because I don't really use static edge, but it'll reprocess everything for the versions if I don't have it. I think. Yeah, it's doing the versions again. But yeah. But this really is a case where I need to upload and download stuff so it doesn't do this every time. Now, actually, I could for the artifact data, I could probably exclude sprites. That's almost all of the data, and it gets completely reprocessed every time. I kind of only need the versions directory, I think. And then we'll do something else to upload the sprites to like CDN somewhere. Upload an individual file. Uses actions. Run makedir. Run echo. Uses upload artifact with my artifact. Path to artifact. Upload entire directory with a slash. Oh, or just path to artifact. Okay. Wildcard pattern. Ah, so now it does path and exclusion. So I could probably just even say not PNG. Wildcard path can be preserved after the first wildcard pattern. Huh. So probably we just want to say oh, annoying thing is I set the directory, but we actually need to save dot dot. I mean, I could throw cd and onto all of the commands. That's not too hard. But it's either that or this has to be dot dot. I'm using it to get images for the map. And I used to have a really crummy process for updating those every week. So I've been trying to get that onto one computer, and then into a shell script. And now I'm seeing is there some way I could more fully automate that. Part of that work was building still kind of a toy Docker setup for it just to understand all the install steps and things. I still have to figure out how to send that to Jason. Yeah. If failure. Status checks. So that would be if not failure. Oh, right, this is the doc site, which is not working right now. world.txt uses with path. Each artifact behaves as a file share. Overwrite and append already uploaded files. Okay, world.txt. It doesn't specify a name, so I guess that's just the default. Named artifact is the default. Multiple jobs as artifacts may become corrupted. Oh, yeah, node versions. Matrix node version. It's a substitute for home. Is home? What is home, though? Make dir new artifact, echo. I don't know how that interacts with checkout. Probably. No, I don't know, because they have a special action for checkout, so I don't know what the directory structure looks like. If they do it there, or if they do it in a subdirectory. GitHub workspace, env name. Additional information. Oh, and this is at v2. My artifact, path to artifact. I want to do... I don't think I actually have to save the PNGs for artifact purposes. Hopefully we can... I may have to do a new container for this one to include like S3 command stuff, unless I can find an action that does it. There's actually a couple that do that. There would be an action in a different thing, though, which is interesting. Where does this go? I guess it's at the step where you want to save it. So the download would actually have to occur in a similar place. Huh. I guess this would be from workdir? I mean, I guess the other way to do this would be is always the root of the repo. No, well, unless you change it. Oh, you know what? This is for run commands. So it probably doesn't affect this. Download v2. Name my artifact, so it sort of implies the directory structure. Name path. So as long as you get it uploaded correctly, that's probably fine. And this would go before we do any processing. I guess this is really public, isn't it? It's post-run actions. You appear to have run to completion. All right, we're gonna have to run this twice to see if it gets any benefit. All right, do I actually need this? I don't need this right now. Okay, you are setting up job. This is still going to be a really long run. I guess we can watch to see if like the initial like node modules and stuff cache works. Okay, well it passed the no op, okay. Oh, that's not gonna work. I'm unable to find any artifacts. Oh. What the heck? How do you get an artifact if you don't upload it? So you have to do a version that uploads the artifact and then change your workflow to download it. But if this thing is not using the run directory, I actually have to change the path to process. And then, do YAML files do comments? I've seen comments in some of the other ones. Where's the examples? Pound. So download artifact. Destroys all my formatting. Aggressively destroys all my formatting. So we can't do that because it will just fail the entire run if it doesn't exist yet. I mean, I suppose I could actually tell it to run on push at this point, assuming that it will, use the trigger in the new updated code, or use the workflow in the recently updated code. All right, so this is going to be the really long step. So, was I looking at a couple of these before? I think I've done a few for a bit. AWSS3 Sync. This is based on Amazon's tool, which I don't know as well. I'm also going to have to look into how he set up secrets. So this we're going to have to test to a dummy bucket because I don't know how this... It might work the same as S3 command. I don't know. There was also an S3 command. I think these are all based on the Amazon tool. Oh yeah, we forgot about this thing because we weren't sure about the virtual environments. Deploy a static website. I don't do the entire thing. Sync a directory to a repository. This is AWSS3 again. Exclude Git. Source dir, okay. We would do public static. But then I need to know how you translate names. Okay, so dest dir. Defaults to root of bucket. So probably would have to specify static. So this is a deploy by itself, so that probably assumes pre-built assets in the GitHub repository. Yeah, actions checkout. Looking up secrets might involve the documentation, though. I guess it's my local CDN node then. New workload file, new workflow. Maybe that's a settings thing? actions. No, that's just runners and config. Dependabot. Oh, there's a secrets and environment variables that are encrypted and only exposed to certain actions. Any other collaborator access can use these secrets in a workflow. Their secrets are not passed to workflows that are triggered by a pull request from a fork. Understandable. And there's a new secret button. Okay. So things we would need to set up. Would be bucket name. The actual secrets. I mean, bucket name isn't necessarily bad to have a sort of a configuration variable without having to republish stuff. I think I do have stuff in US East 1. And then source dir and dest dir would be the things we'd have to set up. Let's see, do I currently have... Yeah, I haven't... Yeah, I've got the tile processor has an identity that has access to that bucket. So I would have to figure out what I was using for that. I can get that off the Heroku stuff. Although maybe I should be playing around with that off stream. We could get the file set up and it would just fail. Yeah, all this version stuff will, if we can get artifacts working, will not be an issue. I'm not even sure if this is on the... It's still the first run, so it's going to have to do this again. Okay, so that was that. Package servers. Okay, here we go. Oh, we still have to test this. And putting this in will probably fail the run. I guess we had to leave it commented out. Uses with. I don't imagine that any of the other ones are going to be really that much different. This one may have just been around for a while. It's apparently gotten some attention. What does the validate CloudFront distribution? I haven't gotten into that yet. Oh, okay. I guess that, no. This is it going into the second stage. Well, maybe this is actually just waiting around for it to run at this point. once artifacts start working, runs should get a bit faster. And then there's still the question of, I mean, if we can run S3, we should be able to make it work. Well, I also have to figure out how this works as a, does this still end up being kind of a manual thing, but it's just a fire off and go? Or do I just set it to check a couple times a day? Unfortunately, that the cron job that the regular one has, kind of running on the same computer, is a bit more efficient. Doesn't have to set up the Docker container. Doesn't have to do a lot of stuff. But I don't know of any like task runner environment that would sort of like give you that continuous machine, but only kind of charge on a runtime basis. I was kind of hoping there'd be like a Heroku for Docker, but I didn't see anything last time I looked. So I'm probably better off waiting out all these test runs just like while I'm eating lunch and stuff. Uh, it's like I kind of don't want to do, I still have to edit the script to test this. So I don't really want to be doing any more work ahead on that. The documentation is down last we checked. There are other things I can investigate, like maybe a serverless setup would have an environment similar to this that would build artifacts, and then I could either serve them from there or. Actually, I know of one name that came up. I'm not talking serverless specifically, but. Totally customizable build environment. And it would actually be producing artifacts you could build with. I don't know if you do the caching stuff. So individuals, build minutes. I have no idea what my bandwidth is. Might be able to check that on Amazon as far as what the map is doing total. Unfortunately, they don't really seem to have an intermediate plan. It's 0 or 45. I guess you pay for individual extra stuff. Extra bandwidth. Get started. Repository, build command. Ew. Yeah, the basic version might not have enough. I guess maybe this is kind of a Heroku-like thing for static sites. Some of these build settings in the config file and deploy context. Build, so say Docker container running a build image. We're built using the same build image. We now experiment with allowing customers select multiple images with different operating systems and software versions. Now, is that still theirs, or is this any image? All Netlify build images are stored in public GitHub repository. Instructions for testing locally. $2ml. Base publish command. Serverless Lambda functions. Context. Okay. Publish command environment. Oh no, context is just a big blob of stuff. Branch deploy experimental, staging, feature branch. Okay, no, that is different context. Redirects. Yeah, I don't know if they do enough build support. You can like maybe run a few commands. File-based configuration. Build plugins. On pre-build, on post-build, on success. Okay, so the JavaScript, so we'd have to be doing a lot of stuff through that interface, I guess. Which could be a little awkward. And I don't know if that supports like installing things. File-based configuration. Okay, no. I don't know if they support the kinds of stuff I want to do. Oh. I guess the other thing to work on is, could you use actions to build the OneLife clients? Still converting sprite images. That's... Yeah, that might be involved enough to do another day. Oh, what, have things automated? Okay. Well, we know we can publish our own Docker images to use in GitHub build steps. Do I have that repository up? Not here. Too many files. That would be in here. Windows client. This could this might be able to publish servers. I'm currently packaging it as a Docker image itself, so you'd have to figure out what you would export an artifact, and that would include graphics. Something that would be more of an upload somewhere kind of thing. Windows client. So apt-get update, install, cross-compile, upload support, which actually this could be converted over to the other S3 stuff anyway. This is only for upload, so it won't really depend on this. Now this is installing a script from the repository. No, this is from build context. That's not necessarily there. Yeah, that's from build context. Copy everything else. I think until we start mentioning source. Well, there's work door run. That could all be kind of like pre-work setup. Then we would have to manage a multiple checkout process. Oh, I hadn't considered that you could have all of these commands in the Docker image and you just say, run this. Now, the directories are different. GitHub has has their own directory, and I think I'm like assuming that in some of these steps. So we have to work on kind of figuring out, current working directory versus relative paths to some things. I know fetch latest tag doesn't care. Apply patches is probably relative. Build client cross. Okay, that's relative. And then that zips up, so that would be more of an artifact release style thing. So that'd be another one where you'd have to kind of get it working and then figure out how to update it. Sweet, we're not even on the versions yet. Yeah, so I think that is going to be a significant enough job to do separately. And then this, I was thinking you could maybe like build the images and stuff and then serve it from here. But I don't see any they don't seem to support detailed build processes. npm yarn bower Ruby. So this is probably, there's no mention of like other environments. So they probably have specific things they support. So this is docs. This would be more of a feature thing. Okay, they're internally. No mention of what things they support. There's specific Jamstack stuff, which probably means that that's their like core thing. Build and test. Technologies. They can do PHP stuff apparently. No. I think they're more focused on the front end stuff. I mean, this deploys to static files, but there's not like I haven't found a thing that's like, here's the technologies we support. that one build thing seems to be about the extent of it. This is probably useful for if I was making my own pure static website thing that didn't involve special canvas plugins and stuff. This might be an option. I thought I saw. Oh well, Elm installs as an npm module, so that's probably how the Elm people were doing this. I mean, maybe you could install Canvas on there if you picked the right version. Hmm. 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 Oh. I guess it just wasn't logging out. So it ran. It had an artifact. Only 1.78 megabytes without the... I guess we can download this. I'd probably just the browse into it, but... Public, okay, yeah, we did get this stuff. We got you, we got sprites empty. We got all those. Got those. You have data. So that's not too bad. I don't... Oh. The biggest thing is sitemap, which I don't actually use. Uh... Would that work without the stars? Or does it have to be a full path? Well, I guess we'll see in future runs. Download artifacts. Well, it's still gonna have a lot of setup, but in theory we're caching now for the node stuff. And I could technically pre-install all of the npm dependencies in the Docker container and then just update that when there was a code change. Ah. Well. Unable to find any artifacts for the associated workflow. Where would you get artifacts for a workflow? Is this only within one run? I mean, how would this even work if it wasn't from some previous run? Or is like a multi-job thing? Well, I might have to wait for the docs to come back up for this one. Download artifacts. Interact with artifacts. Share data between jobs. I need to share data between workflows. Persisting, there's the docs again. Share data between jobs in a workflow. Store data once that workflow is completed. Well, this seems to be turning into a bigger problem than I want to tackle right now. So we've got, let's see. That's one tech. I don't know if I've got notes there yet. Yes, I do. Yeah, for this stuff. So we've got preserve data. And I might have to abuse the cache feature, even though they say it's not for changing data. That's the only cross workflow thing I have right now. And it's kind of a cache in that we're preserving the version data. And then this is kind of separate actions for client builds. We need to get, it'd be nice to get some confirmation on that. But that's what it's looking like right now. Oh, and at some point, I need to change my stuff back. All right, that's something to remember where we were next time. That's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the help. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. Let's see if I have anything to recommend. That's about what I'm usually on. Not a whole lot of code this morning. Nothing particularly close to this. Well, I see Fanks Games working on 2D pixel art MMORPG. I need that. For someplace cool to hang out. Someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.